You're going to say something today. Maybe to a friend. Maybe to yourself in the car. Maybe just to order a coffee. You won't think about it. You'll open your mouth and sound will come out, and another human being will understand exactly what you mean. That process, the one you've done 10,000 times, took somewhere between 2 and 5 million years to build.
And nobody knows exactly when it started. Nobody knows what the first human voice sounded like. But science is getting very, very close to an answer. And when you hear what researchers have pieced together, it's going to change the way you think about every conversation you've ever had. Let's start with what your voice actually is. Not metaphorically, physically. Your voice is air. You push air from your lungs up through your larynx, your voice box, and across two small folds of tissue called vocal cords. Those folds vibrate. That vibration creates sound. Then your tongue, your lips, your teeth, and the shape of your throat sculpt that raw sound into specific frequencies, into words.
It sounds simple. It isn't. The human vocal system is one of the most precisely engineered biological structures on Earth, and almost none of it exists in other animals. Not in the way it exists in us. Chimpanzees, our closest living relatives, have vocal cords. They can produce sounds, screams, hoots, barks, soft grunts of recognition. But a chimpanzee cannot say a single word. Not because they lack intelligence,
because their throat is built differently. In chimpanzees, the larynx sits high in the throat, right behind the mouth. This is actually safer for them. It means they can breathe and swallow at the same time without choking. In humans, the larynx sits much lower. That descent creates a long, curved chamber above the voice box called the pharynx. That chamber is where vowel sounds are shaped. Without it, you can make noise, but you cannot make language. The human larynx descended somewhere between 100,000 and 300,000 years ago. That descent is the moment the human voice as we know it became physically possible. But physically possible and actually happening are two very different things. Here's the problem that makes this question so difficult. Soft tissue doesn't fossilize. The larynx, the tongue, the lips, none of it leaves a trace in the archaeological record. You cannot dig up a voice. You cannot carbon date a sound. So how do scientists figure out when humans started speaking? They look at bones.
Specifically, they look at three things: the hyoid bone, the ear canal, and the base of the skull. The hyoid is a small horseshoe-shaped bone at the base of your tongue. It's the only bone in your body that doesn't articulate with any other bone. It floats. And it's the anchor point for the muscles that control tongue movement during speech. In 1989, researchers excavating Kibara Cave in Israel found something extraordinary: a Neanderthal hyoid bone. It was 60,000 years old, and when they analyzed it, they found it was virtually identical to a modern human hyoid. Same shape, same size, same muscle attachment points. If the hyoid is the same, the tongue mechanics are the same. If the tongue mechanics are the same, the physical capacity for speech is the same. That single bone shifted the entire field. Because it meant Neanderthals, a species separate from modern humans, may have been capable of something very close to speech. Not our speech, but speech.
Then comes the ear canal. In 2021, a team led by researcher Mercedes Conde Valverde published findings in Nature, Ecology, and Evolution. They had been scanning the fossilized ear bones of Neanderthals using high-resolution CT imaging. And they found that the Neanderthal ear canal was tuned, specifically tuned to receive the same frequency range as modern human speech. Human speech clusters in a specific bandwidth, roughly 2 to 4 kilohertz. That's the range where our voices carry the most information: consonants, vowel distinctions, the sounds that make words different from each other. The Neanderthal ear was shaped to hear exactly that range. Not animal sounds, not environmental noise, speech frequencies. You don't evolve an ear tuned for speech sounds unless speech sounds exist. The ear is evidence of a voice. But Neanderthals aren't us. They're a related species, a cousin branch that went extinct roughly 40,000 years ago. What about the first modern humans? What about the voice that eventually became yours? For that, researchers look at the base of the skull. The angle at which the skull base curves, called the basicranial flexion, directly correlates with how far the larynx has descended. A flat skull base means the larynx is high, like a chimpanzee. A curved skull base means the larynx is lower, creating the pharyngeal chamber needed for vowel production.